Hey folks, today I want to talk about my Staccato XC. Well, here's a piece of it anyway. I've got some other pieces around here. We'll go through it. This is a 25,000 round sort of discussion on the gun. Now, the gun has 25,000 rounds on it. I didn't fire all of them. I've loaned it to people, which, maybe that sounds a little nuts, but I've definitely done that. I'm happy to let people shoot it if it's practical. So other people have shot the gun, not just me, but most of those rounds have been me. Of course, I'm going to go through and talk about the condition of the gun, show you the gun, show you how it's wearing in. And you can make up your own minds about what all of that means. Now, I've wiped the gun down clean. And we'll go through it. Now, before we get into that, I want to talk through what kind of issues I've experienced with the gun. I didn't really get it all that clean. Some of the nerds are going to go crazy when they look at this, but I wiped it off a little bit. Anyway, now in my time with the gun, when I wiped all the lube off of it, so I basically intentionally starved it when I got it, shot light ammo through it, and it jammed. Apart from that, not even under all conditions that I've shot it, the gun has, fed and cycled and ejected and done all of that stuff. There has been no issues with the gun in terms of the reliability, except for the stuff that, that I caused a little bit intentionally when I got the gun, just so I'd understand how it works and all that. Picking up the gun and hand cycling it, like you can see right away, it's like, if this thing cycles, like it's going to run. At least that's been my experience. Now, the one other issue I had was hammer follow. That was where the hammer goes to half cock. Typically, that's going to happen during rapid fire shooting. It happens more when the trigger's lighter. This is the 2.5 pound version of the gun. I did experience a little bit of hammer follow at 20,000-ish rounds, I think. It was during fast shooting, and then it's where it's like, okay, it needs a little more tension on the sear. Gun was taken apart, that tension was put on it, and there has not been an issue since then. All of that stuff, like that's kind of what I would expect. That's what I would predict from this type of trigger system. That's just the way it works, right? So you shoot it a bunch, it softens up, then eventually, usually during rapid fire, hammer follow is what's going to happen. It'll start malfunctioning in that way if you don't have the right tension on the sear. Okay, now we're looking over the condition of the grip on the gun, the frame. Let's see if we get a good view of it. Oh, I think that's okay. You can see there's not much visible wear. It's not that it's flawless. It's I would say the frame looks pretty good for how much has been shot through it. Again, the nerds would go crazy. Like it's not super clean. I'm sorry. Now the magwell, I think this is anodized aluminum. So this looks pretty beat up, as you can see. I guess you could replace that if that bothered you cosmetically, but that's what it looks like after this amount of rounds. Now, if I'd been dry firing a lot and live firing a little, this magwell would be a lot more beat down. That is absolutely for sure. Okay, looking at the slide of the gun, you can see it. It's not really showing many signs of wear. Over on this side, you can see maybe you can see it on camera. I'll try to focus in there. Maybe you can see it. There's like a little nick or something. Hard to see, hard to tell on camera. All right. So I would say the coating is a strong point of this gun. It is excellent. It's held up really, really well. Now, what is not a strong point, but maybe also a little bit difficult to see on camera, where the gun was laser etched, the Stegler on here, there is a little bit of rust developing, which, I can kind of clean it off, but it's there. There's not much that's going to be done about that, realistically speaking. Now, in terms of cleaning, I've taken the extractor out of the gun one time and cleaned it, I think around 15,000 rounds. It was super dirty, obviously, but the gun was still working. So like I've I've only taken the slide apart just the one time and cleaned it. It hasn't been cleaned otherwise, and it has been fine. Now, there's a little more wear in the barrel, not super shocking. This is where you can see, the stuff sliding around, slamming into the comp, and all of that. Now, probably the annoying part here is cleaning out the comp itself. You're not going to be able to see in there. My comp's pretty clean. I cleaned it out chemically a little while ago. I don't know, a few weeks ago or a couple weeks ago. I don't remember. But I did put it in the right chemicals, and the lead was pretty easy to get out of there. It was not a huge deal to lube that thing up or to clean that thing. I can show you the slide stop. There's a little bit of visible wear on this. Otherwise, there hasn't been a problem with it. And here's the guide rod with the spring. After changing to, what was it, an 11-pound spring in here, I have not changed this thing since. I typically do not replace recoil springs. I've never broken one, actually. Maybe they get a little too soft, but I haven't broken one. Now, the magazines, I use just one set of magazines. I have multiple staccatos, as the regular viewers know, but I just use one set of mags, even though I have another set. And this is so all the wear gets put on one set of magazines. So what I'm saying is these mags have been used more than the 25,000 round count would indicate. Their springs are starting to get a little bit soft, like you can tell. It's just like, okay, this is softening up. I don't love the way that it's feeding. If the magazine's got a little bit of sand in it, when I'm like stuffing rounds in there, it's like, it doesn't want to feed up quite as much. It's just getting to the point where it's like, I can tell like this is probably going to need new mag springs. But again, that was the life cycle on them and the timeline on them. They definitely wore out faster than like on a Glock. Like I don't change the magazine springs on Glocks. I have Glock magazine springs I've shot forever and never done anything. These don't work quite like that. I'm getting to the point like I do not trust these springs anymore, and I have ordered replacements. Now, all of that having been said, I'm going to put the gun back together, put some rem oil on it. Rem oil gang assemble. Love using the rem oil on the staccato because it makes the nerds insane. Man, what else is there to say about this gun? I think the interesting part is the subjective, kind of the experience of having it. I would liken this to having like a cool car where like dudes want to come over and look at it and like play around with it. Like this gun gets attention from people and they want to shoot it. And it's like, it's just way cooler and more interesting than the Staccato P. Even though like in terms of, shooting experience and capability, it's not like it's not dramatically different, it's like, it's very, very similar, but the comp definitely changes the look of it. And it's like the crowd favorite, right? It's the gun that people like talking about it. They want to shoot it. They want to, see how it's going, all that stuff. Okay. Gun back together now. So for better, for worse, 25,000 rounds on the gun. That's the experience that I've had. It's been probably way more reliable than most people would have guessed. I can't say I'm super shocked with that. The thing, like I said, the thing that's impressed me is the coating. It's been really excellent. So it keeps the gun looking nicer, more so than the amount of miles on it would really indicate. So there it is. For better, for worse, whatever you think about it, that's the lowdown on what's happened in the last 25,000 rounds with this gun. I'll come back at some point and update it, maybe answer some questions, whatever. It's been fun to shoot it. I'm not going to lie. It's been a blast shooting the gun. I like shooting. So there it is, guys.